It's on June the 1st will be when we restart Genesis to Revelation.
Oh.
But here's the sneak peek: is that week 1 we will not be in the book of Genesis. We will be doing an introduction to the Bible as a whole.
Okay.
It's going to include some hermeneutics and some other do's and don'ts when approaching the word and all that.
Okay.
So it's pretty
That's
foundational.
interesting.
Yeah, you did that.
Well worth a week.
That's great.
You did that in the beginning. You did that in the beginning.
Yeah.
You did? Oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't good.
What date is that? June 1st?
June the 1st.
Okay.
Yep. I'll give you the handout tonight for those of you who are coming
It's
back.
around the corner.
You get the sneak preview.
Yeah.
All right, so what was the genre, or what is the genre of Revelation?
Prophecy?
Yeah, apocalyptic prophecy. What's apocalyptic mean?
Cataclysm?
It means.
That's what it's come to mean. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
come
but
to mean
let's
cataclysm.
try
Let's
pick carefully.
Apocalyptic means a revelation
It
of
is.
war.
Oh,
The
okay.
title has been changed from the Apocalypse of John from the Revelation of John. They're interchangeable words. Just a revelation, just a revealing.
Unveiling.
And then
Unveiling,
uncovering.
yeah.
Like
That's
peeking
the
behind the
seals.
curtain.
Absolutely. So why does John write in apocalyptic language? I mean, he didn't write in apocalyptic language in his gospel or the other first, second, and third John.
Well, the gospel was the good news.
Yeah.
I think the idea, for writing in this, in apocalyptic form, was just to kind of it's kind of like a warning in a way. Correct me if I'm wrong.
In a sense, but not directly. I mean,
Yeah, that's why I say kind of.
there is a huge
Mm-hmm.
warning is a huge part of it, but it's not the main point. It's not the main
Yeah.
purpose.
Well, he was given vision.
Mhm.
That's how he was able to write this. This is what the vision he was
Mhm.
given
Yeah.
from the Spirit, and to see all this.
And interpreting them.
Okay. Actually, I could make the argument or restate the question: why did Jesus use apocalyptic language to give to John? Right? Because you're right. That's the vision he got. So that's a good answer. It's spot on. But I'm trying to flesh out why do we go apocalyptic, not just historical narrative, if this is future prophetic, fulfillment to come. Yeah.
To address the churches of that time that were under persecution and the false teachings,
Mhm.
and then also to give them hope that because they were suffering so harshly for his name, that he was giving them hope that, in the end, justice is gonna win, and that he's gonna come back and he's gonna make it right.
Mhm.
So, and then not only for them, but then also it translates into all Christians
Yeah.
at all periods of time.
You're spot on. There's a two-part to that answer. Is apocalyptic literature is going to carry forward much better than historical narrative for us, right? Because we've talked, and we will talk more about the then and there and the here and now, right? Who was this book written to? Is this a question? I'm probably jumping on my thunder.
To the seven churches
Yeah.
specifically.
Like Philadelphia.
Or was it written to us?
It was written to us.
It was written to us.
Wait, hold on. You have
It was written.
You have it right here. It's not to us, but
It was
to.
written to the church of the last generation.
Oh, yeah, that's where I remember from. It's gonna be question number 8, right? I'm trying not to stomp on it too hard. So, the question says the book of Revelation was written to the church or the last generation. We'll just hold on to that since it's in there already. I just didn't wanna miss it. We'll see who gets that question, right, Shirley?
Not me.
50-50.
I know, but I'm just thinking of how hungry I am. Sorry.
Oh, my. We'll take care of that before you leave. I got something for you.
I got
One.
it.
Um,
My eyes.
Yeah, the apocalyptic genre, it's just bristling with symbology, right? And that also served a purpose back then. It helped them avoid a lot of trouble with not only the Roman authorities, but the Jewish authorities of the time.
Uh-huh.
If they were to come out and say, Nero is the Antichrist, you're dead. It's time to die. So instead, they used a lot of symbolism
So it would
in
seem
order to
blasphemous.
convey the
just
message
to
that they would have all understood.
Mhm.
It's almost like, a lawyer would have a tough time trying to prove somebody guilty of threatening the president if he's just talking in symbolic language, right?
If you make an accusation.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding that,
Mhm.
on your worksheet that you gave us on the symbologies of the 666, so if you're saying.
Is that a question?
Wait, we haven't got there yet. It's a
No, I
question.
don't think it's a question.
It is, it's number 7.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, you're jumping ahead.
It was a question, so after they answer it, I'll ask my question.
Okay, I think I know who's gonna get question 7 now.
I will say that the horseman always stood out to me in Revelation.
We'll talk about the ponies. Let me see. So yeah, the symbology helped with the protecting the church and disseminating of, of what John was trying to say, right? I think, yes. But, I'm reviewing so I don't jump on another question. Let me see, apocalyptic language. I think we covered all of that. The symbology also is much deeper than just symbolic language. A lot of this imagery comes directly from the Old Testament. Exodus, Daniel, Zechariah, and we're going to see that as we proceed through some of these questions here. So the first century Jews would understand that when we're talking about 4 horsemen, okay, that had meaning to them beyond what we've given it today in the Western church, right? We have all kinds of theories of what these represent, but they had no question. They knew exactly what it meant back then to them.
What did it mean? 'Cause
We're
that
gonna
wasn't
get
in the worksheet. It wasn't in the worksheet.
We're gonna,
Question number.
Never mind.
yeah, we'll get there. You know, there was, I don't know if you saw the tremendous amount of handouts on the Google Docs page, but there was a lot. I mean, there's easily 100 pages because I did a whole year on Revelation, so over the year I collected a lot of.
These ones right here,
A lot of information.
these ones right here,
What about?
these are the ones you're referring to,
Those
or
links.
to go on to that, or to go on to that?
Oh, no, those are just videos. Yeah, there's
So where are
many,
those?
many more
They're
on the
on-
Google Docs page. If you go to the website,
Okay,
the groups page, you'll see the handouts, the homework's included in there, same page.
okay.
It just populated this week, so you may not have seen it, but it's a tremendous amount of information on there. So yeah, the church, the first century church, the 7 churches would have, none of this would have made them scratch their head, saying, what the heck is John talking about? None of it, all right? To us now, that's a whole nother story. You know, we're 2,000 years removed, we've had a Western Christian interpretations taught in seminary. And so I think it was Got Questions, one of the websites, has hung their hat on that philosophy. It's one of the reasons why I didn't want to show the revelation from that group. You know, you're not going to find, there are very few websites out there that have it all right. And as I say that, I know nobody's got it all right, including myself. So, yeah, a wise teacher once said, friends, when you come across a seed in a watermelon, you don't throw away the whole watermelon, right? Spit out the seeds.
Yep.
But there's going to be good information in and around it. Let's see. Yeah, I think, I don't know, there's a stat somewhere in those handouts of the sheer number of references to the Old Testament from Revelation. It's more than half. It's like 270 verses in Revelation are direct reference to the Old Testament. Almost word for word, yeah. So once again, they would have understood this immensely. All right, and then the last thing he said, which I really like, is you know, this part of the purpose of this message was for the faithful to remain faithful, right? To not lose hope despite the tremendous persecution they were under and were fixing to get worse. And John talks a lot about that. And that's arguably the hardest part, not only certainly for them, but it's arguably the hardest part for us, even in the modern church, is to be faithful, not to lose hope, you know, to wait on the second coming of the Lord. Because a great number of people, they start well, don't finish well, from pastors on down, and everybody in between. Any questions so far? Alright, I gotta do some math here and see who's gonna get what question. Okay, but before we get to the question, there's a couple things, and you'll see something similar to this in the introduction. But it's particularly, it definitely applies greatly to Revelation, to have no beginning preconceptions, right? I don't want to say forget everything you've ever learned about it, but just keep in mind that it may not be right. Okay, I had a really hard time going from one view to another, because I'd spent so much time in the one view, I didn't want to let it go, because man, all that time and energy I invested in that. But if you're wrong, you're wrong. And it bothered me so much. Sylvia knows that when we did our Genesis to Revelation, we spent 1 week on Revelation. No, we spent a few weeks on Revelation, but that was my previous interpretation, which I came to believe was false. And so I called the group back together, and we went and redid Revelation. And not just a few weeks, we spent a year going through Revelation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a binder, of handouts this thick.
That's
So you only got
oh
this
my
far.
God.
The hardest part of this homework for me tonight was to chop it down to 2 hours or less.
I was thinking we should do more than one class.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, you did
I
do
know.
that.
Well, we don't have Debbie
So
here.
much.
Here's my promise, to you, is if you can't get enough from the handouts that are online, I'm happy to do 1 or 2 separate, not part of the Monday night, but elsewhere, topic, deal with individual topics for the book as a whole topic outside of the class setting. But it won't be another year-long class. But we will get all your questions answered.
I'll read I didn't read any of those
Yeah.
handouts.
Do your part, and then if you still have questions, we'll come alongside and help. All right, so don't have preconceptions, consider new interpretation. Know that what's in the text is without error, okay, and don't forget the rule that it has to have meant something to them in the then and there, okay. John didn't write this for us 2,000 years later and it had nothing for them. It's not how it works. Okay? He wrote it to them, and there's something in there for us. It's the other way around.
Well, it's just like the whole entire Bible is the living word, and it applied then and it can apply
All
now.
right, the principles, absolutely.
And then it's an individual thing because
Yeah.
you're with the Spirit of God, where it's talking to you directly,
Sure.
even though the words do not ever change.
Yeah, I mean, a good illustration of that is, few people would say that God promised the United States, the land between the Euphrates and the Tigris, right? They know that was promised to Abraham in Genesis, right? But we make the same mistake claiming promises that were just for Israel, for ourselves, or for the church. And while the principles still apply, the promises, all of the covenants in the Bible were made to Israel.
I was saying, 'cause they
All
always
of
talk
them.
about the west, the east, and never like the west. and the west.
Are you talking about like,
They never say north, always east and west.
are you talking about like the promised land, or what are you talking about?
Also, but every covenant, the Mosaic, the Abrahamic, the Edenic, the New Covenant, they're all made to Israel. We were drafted in, as you recall, to that covenant, right? But
So if
we-
we're grafted in,
Yeah,
then
Never said nothing about the
Then what
north, never
happens?
said east, west, east, and south.
what's that?
if we're grafted in, then what happens?
In what sense?
Well, if you're grafted into a family, then you are part of that family, but you're saying
Sure.
the
Yeah,
promises
we
don't
inherit the
Mhm.
same inheritance as the family.
inheritance,
Absolutely.
but not
Yeah.
the promises.
Very good distinction. We all, basic hermeneutics, let the Bible interpret itself, right? Keep verses in context, right? We take the majority interpretations of scripture over the one bag interpretation. And just wanted to remind us that, prophecy in the Old Testament wasn't the prophet who could see everything that happened, right, in a prophecy. Right? If this is the prophet here, you didn't know I was an artist, did you? Right? He could see all the mountaintops, right, in his prophecy, but he couldn't see what's down here. Right, and that's why prophecy is sometimes hard for us to wrap our peanut around, because they didn't have the full picture, but they saw what the Father wanted them to see.
Did
this
anyone
purpose.
really have horizontal tunnel vision in this scenario? Okay, that joke aside.
I don't know if this is a question, but you know how you said that there's prophecy in Revelation, and it refers back to Ezekiel's prophecy, Daniel's prophecy, and, what was it?
Zechariah,
Zechariah.
yeah,
So,
those are major,
so you know how when there's, God instills a promise, or he repeats it and he reminds you, so is that part of the prophecies in Revelation, saying he's just reminding them of the things that he had
absolutely.
already?
And that's what I mean by, they would understand completely the book of Revelation. They wouldn't be scratching their heads like we are,
Like we are.
wondering, what does this symbol mean? What is he talking about? There was
Yeah,
none
I
of
know
that.
I am.
There was none of that in the seven churches. They understood completely what he was talking about. Now, outsiders, not so much. But Israel, those who knew the Old Testament, understood what he was talking about. And if that was key for them, it's key for us. If we don't understand the Old Testament, forget about Revelation. Don't even start there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm so confused, cause
I started in Revelation.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
yeah, I mean, I've been here, but I began, 3 books to the end of Old Testament, so.
Yeah.
And I really read this, cause I was like, oh, I've never read Revelation, I've always heard about things and seen snippets,
Mhm.
but I read it and my head was spinning.
Sure.
Yeah, because I was like,
You took John
this
along.
could be definitely though, like interpreted so many different ways.
And it is. You saw
Yeah.
the book, right? We have 4 major
Right.
worldviews on this one book.
Right,
Right? And they're all distinctly different. There are variations in between.
right.
That's the key word, worldviews.
But
Indeed.
yeah, you're not alone.
Don't want the world view. I want John's view.
I want the spiritual.
All right. Couple other notes, and all of the visions and symbols in Revelation do not have an allegorical or spiritual meaning. Okay, you don't have to assign some type of spiritual meaning to every symbol.
Yeah.
Everybody's done that, so there are plenty to choose from.
Right.
But they don't all necessarily. If Jesus says, I am the door. He doesn't have hinges. Okay, it's symbolic of that he's the way in. The way to the Father. But if Jesus says, if he's talking about a fig tree dying, that doesn't necessarily have to mean that this means Israel and Israel's gonna die. It could just mean
A fig
it's a
tree
tree.
dying.
A fig tree is dying, right? So don't try to assign symbology or significance to everything. Some things it is true of, and other things, but not everything.
Yeah, I think you outlined, when you outlined
The
in our
millennia?
handout. Yeah, what you put in our handouts,
Mhm.
like, the key symbols and meanings, I think that's pretty spot on.
On the Google Docs page, there's a deeper symbology listing there. It's 12 pages long.
Oh gosh,
I think it pretty much hit everything in there.
okay. Like it kinda outlines all these ones that
And
like
then-
in more
and then some,
in
yeah.
more detail?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then some.
Okay. Wait, how do we get to that reservation?
I don't know,
I will show you.
I'm not on it.
I forget how to get
Here's,
there.
I'll resend the link to everybody.
Oh, cool, thank
Easy.
you.
Okay, that would be the easiest way. All right. And once again, I just don't want to jump on a question here.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a question. Don't want to go there. All right. We're going to talk about the main views, the forms of revelation. Right? There's 5 of them actually. And one other thing to know is that Revelation is not written entirely or strictly in a linear or chronological order.
Clearly it is not.
Very good. Glad you get that. Glad you
Yeah.
get that.
Clearly it is not, cause you're like, you read it and then you're like, wait, but this was here, but now you're jumping over here, you're like, yeah.
They didn't say that this would happen in this particular order.
And another, just an interesting thing that I caught is when Jesus, or the angel speaking to John, he says, I heard, right? And then he explained what he heard, and then later, I saw, right? And they don't always seem to connect.
Right.
But it's just interesting to know what he heard and what he saw was even tough for him to sometimes to, what's the word I'm looking for, reconcile. But we will deal with it. And so with that, we will start with, and I think I have a decent way of handling this with, without asking it of every single person here.
Oh,
So, has everybody here heard of pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib? And I know Sylvia has, but is that a term that you were familiar with before the class? No.
Nope.
So let me ask, we'll start with Miss Sylvia. What is pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, or a-trib? What do those
That
mean?
threw me off.
Yeah, that.
Oh, come on now.
A trib, a trib,
Yeah, tribulation,
A trip.
a trib,
tribulation. Oh, a-trib threw you off?
yeah.
Oh, good, I'm glad I have something new for you.
Yeah, what is that? I've not heard of Adrian.
Uh-huh.
I haven't heard of it.
It's Latin.
Well, pre-trib is what happens before 7 years. The mid-trib is midpoint, and the post-trib is after the tribulation.
Yeah,
And
a-trib.
A-trib, that one got me.
A-trib means there is no tribulation,
Okay.
right?
Oh.
Like atheist, right?
Oh,
There
yeah.
is no
What?
God.
Say that again?
Okay.
I'm
Pre-trib
sorry, but
happens
God's not
before
dead.
7 years.
Okay, wait, before.
A-trib is there is
7
no.
year
there
Seven years,
is no
okay.
And mid-trib is
So like
midpoint.
nothingness.
No, no,
Mid,
mid-trib is midpoint,
midpoint, okay.
And the post-trib is after
After
the trib
7.
ends.
right?
After what?
After the tribulation ends.
It's like
Oh,
post-war.
after tribute. Oh, okay, after trib.
And this is all referring
And
to
then the A-trib
the
means
the
nothing.
rapture of the church, right?
Right,
Prob-
right,
would
right.
it help
And
to put that
A-trib
in
means what?
There is
None.
no,
There
there
is.
is no tribulation.
Nothingness.
There is none.
Tell her
Oh,
what your
A-trib
thoughts on
means.
Or either that or there is no rapture. One of the two.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
72, page 72.
So if you said
It's still
a-tribulation
confirming.
rapture, that means they don't believe there is a rapture.
Let's see.
It's not gonna happen.
Page
Wow.
72.
If you say you're pre-trib rapture, that means the church gets raptured up before Jesus comes back. If you're mid-trib rapture, that means Jesus comes back in the middle of the tribulation and rapture takes the church away. And if you're post-trib, that means Jesus comes back after the events of tribulation and then meets his church in the air.
So
Oh.
Debbie
What do you
Debbie
know?
was saying that it already happened, right? That's what she
Say again
said.
now?
Debbie was saying that, so you changed
Well,
your mind?
that's
Did
one
you change
view.
your
We're
mind?
gonna talk about that, right?
Okay.
Here's the second part to your question.
Okay.
I had a friend who's a Roman Catholic, and he said Revelation already happened.
That's called a preterist. Yeah,
It's
preterism.
pretty
It's one of the views in this book.
A pre,
Preterism?
oh, preterist.
Preterist? Yeah.
Oh, it's
So-
in our book.
Yeah. So what's your view, Miss Sylvia? Where are you at? When
Well,
when does
was-
when does the rapture of the church
I
happen?
guess it changed now again.
Uh-oh.
So, sorry, dumb question.
Especially
What is
That's okay.
tribulation again?
Tribulation is 7 years of persecution.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
globally.
so the argument here with everybody is,
What you believe in.
Does Jesus come before this tribulation to
Right.
rapture up the church, take
Right.
them off the earth? Does he come in the middle of it, of the 7-year period? Does he come at the end of the 7-year period? Or did all of this happen already? There is no coming rapture or tribulation. Those are the 4 main views on rapture, but not on revelation. You
So you.
how do
You
I
follow-
know
you
if
follow this
rapture
question?
is for real?
Well, that's another question. The person who asked that might be an A-trib. There is none. I don't believe in it because I have no proof, evidence, textual or otherwise.
Right,
Mhm.
right?
But there is textual evidence for it.
Textual
Oh,
evidence?
my
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
This is-
Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians 4:15, if I'm not mistaken.
it's
First
confusing.
Thessalonians
No.
It is.
What is that?
No, it's confusing.
Wait. when
Not
is-
really.
when is-
Not
are
when
we
we're-
on the
not by the
second-
time
At
we're
first
are we on
glance,
the-
it's
we're on the second
confusing,
question.
but give it more chance.
Oh, absolutely.
We're on the second question, right?
No, it's still number 1.
Oh.
Second half of question number 1.
Oh,
What's her worldview? Which view
Okay,
does she
so-
take
oh,
of these?
I
Yeah.
forgot, oh.
That's what I have to say.
I'm lucky I just got the first part.
So,
So-
yeah, let's get the first part down, right?
So first-
Everybody understands pre-trib, Jesus comes, takes the church before the 7 years of tribulation.
Right.
Mid-trib becomes in the middle, just like it says, 3.5 years in. There's some textual support for that, right? Interpretation. And then post-trib, that comes after the tribulation.
So,
After
sorry,
end.
sorry,
How come this
Sorry
bar
to
says
interrupt.
after?
Hold on.
again, why do you even ask that question?
Why is there a rapture,
No,
tribulation?
no. Why is there the term pre-trib, post-trib?
Because
Because
Is
it
that,
determines
hold on,
your-
I don't say before breakfast, after breakfast, and in the middle of breakfast, right? I just
Yeah.
say I ate food. I'm just saying, that's me.
When? When are you gonna eat
prefer to keep
food,
it
okay?
simple.
Are you gonna eat it in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night?
All three.
no, he doesn't have time, he doesn't have time for that.
It's okay.
You see the point I'm trying to make?
Has to be
When
easy.
is breakfast gonna happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before or
That's the-
after
that's
the
the question.
milkman comes?
Just a moment.
At high noon, before sunrise, or after sunset, right? You see the analogy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's getting ready. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm taking a moment, like, I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. Like,
It is confusing,
I needed to
John.
breathe.
And it'll make your head spin.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Just focus
Yes, you're
on
not
the
alone.
one topic, return of Christ, rapture of the church, right? And the
Return of
time,
Christ.
the timing.
Okay.
That's it, that's all we're dealing with at this moment.
I thought you were gonna read that.
Read
Thessalonians.
Oh, you're gonna read this one? No, you don't
Or at
have
least
to.
like,
It's,
He
the
has it.
Thessalonians verse?
no, you don't have to read it. It's,
I was just looking at
it's
it.
what the pre-trib belief, worldview.
Right, that's,
That's their key text verse right there.
Mhm.
I was before that.
Who
There
are
are many
the
other verses.
pre-tribbers?
But then,
Huh?
Who are
Beware.
the pre-tribbers?
I used to
I used
be
to be.
pre-tribber,
I
big
used to
time.
be too.
Yeah.
I used
All
to
the churches in the 80s and 70s.
You used to be a pre, what do you
The
mean now? What do you
befores.
mean by that?
Got questions,
Now I
is
don't
pre-trib.
know.
Because everything.
John MacArthur was
God-
pre-trib,
Oh.
David Jeremiah is pre-trib,
Yeah.
Things happen and, you know, to where it is.
John MacArthur is
So,
pre-trib?
was.
Revelation was.
Hey, by the way, did I just
What
hear
is
that
it
he
now?
recently passed away?
He did.
hasn't come.
Towards the end of
Yeah.
his life, he started
But
to,
then as.
shift
taking his class and stuff,
to
it's
a
like,
different
okay,
take on
but
that,
it is
a different
pretty
interpretation.
What was his switch to
But
mid
you
or
said
post?
Post.
pre-trib is
Oh.
before 7 years?
Right.
You
so
know
before-
why it has
so
switched?
before
Because
what?
back in those
before
days,
it's like
today
7
wasn't
years,
happening.
7 years, you know,
now
7
we're
years
living in
before
this day that we never back then
So-
thought could ever happen.
And so I used to.
And now we're like, hey, we're still here.
Happened before our time.
So it's no longer a free.
Let's see where Miss Sylvia is.
Oh.
So where are you
So I
at?
was telling Tammy, I said that, you know, beforehand, I was, you know,
Mhm.
believing like I said,
Pre-trib.
pre-trib, yes, I
Mhm.
did. So when I went to Mike's class and stuff, and then that was like, oh, wow, so I did get confused. So you're not alone, don't think you're not. It does, I mean, to wrap your brain around it, it's very overwhelming. So that in itself, don't feel bad, you know, it's
Mhm.
gonna take a while to sink in, so just know that.
Yeah.
So then with Mike and going with Debbie to this class,
Uh-huh.
then she was like, oh no, it already happened. I'm thinking, what? You know, and then she starts bringing these books and all stuff, and I'm like, okay, Mike.
Debbie was very close to preterism, which everything already happened.
Yeah, so then I was like, well, no, he goes, you don't want to read the book. And she asked, what about this book? And she was saying, oh, he goes,
Yeah, there are problems. Well, in my opinion, there are more problems with the other three views than there are with post-trib. I think post-trib answers more problems than it solves, or solves more problems than it answers. No, yeah, it solves more problems than it creates. Right?
Oh, okay.
And so that's the one that I'm hanging at now. I could be wrong. I could change my mind again sometime. That given new evidence or information.
But when you right, and when you were,
Well, with
and when
what
you
I-
were explaining stuff, made a lot of sense.
Or
Where,
that.
you know,
But in order
even though
to
Debbie,
in order to get deeper into Revelation, this is kind of the starting point for most people.
right,
You
it's
know,
still
is the
confusing.
rapture of the church, because the Western church has been taught ever since the Schofield Study Bible,
Mhm.
seminaries picked it up, that
Right, no, that's
there's
true.
going to be the 7-year tribulation, but the church is not going to suffer the wrath of God. And she's his bride. Why would they, so why wouldn't God take his bride out before, he releases his wrath?
It's not that way.
There's good post-trib answers for that,
It's not that
but I
kind
didn't
of
know them
party.
at the time, right?
Well, why did Jesus say, you're gonna serve me to be ready to die for me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if he
That's a
expected for you to
post-trib
die,
argument.
he said it. He said that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the expectation. So therefore, how's it gonna be so nice and sweet that we're just gonna?
You do know
Miss
the
it all.
word witness is a direct translation from the word martyr. So when he says you'll be witnesses to the
And
end of
yeah,
the earth,
physically.
You can,
Yes.
you can easily and
Because-
rightly substitute the word martyr.
To the end of the world, so that means to the end of the tribulation before he comes back.
Yeah.
Got it.
Second coming. So you're post-trib now, right, Miss Sylvia?
From that
Right,
verse.
but that makes sense, you know, now
Yeah.
that saying that there's more, it solves more problems than it's
And
creating.
here's the thing, the more you know about this subject, the tougher it can be to change the worldview, alright?
Yes,
Because,
and that's true, yeah.
Given how
you
we
have
have
a whole bunch of preconceived notions that now have to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, versed in all of this, it's actually an easier go for you.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't think that because you don't know all of these terms and all that you're at a disadvantage. You're at an advantage.
First
Yeah.
rule of tribulation.
Also, I could say that obviously Satan's involved in anything that God has to do, right?
Yeah.
So if he were to go and confuse the masses by telling a very renowned Christian person and influencing them, that, oh, pre-trib, right? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And people bet their whole life on it,
Sure.
right? To the point where when it doesn't happen, everything fails, what happens to that person? Now they lose
What
faith,
happens to the
they
church?
lose hope,
Yeah.
they lose all of that, and then what happens?
Wow.
Now they're in a depression, and then here comes the enemy, and now they're like, I don't know.
That's the story of every
Right.
cult, right?
There you go.
Oh, okay, that's
So
right.
he's in the church all the time,
Yeah.
false
Yeah.
teachers, he's in the church getting people that are,
And here's the thing, right? If pre-trib is right and I'm wrong, excellent.
hallelujah.
Yeah, I'm gone. I don't have to go through it, right? But like Kola rightly says, that if the church, and it does, right? This is what we're living in right now,
Right.
believes that they're going to be taken up, avoid all this tribulation, and they find themselves right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
How is that a message of hope, right? It is not. This book will not apply to anybody with a pre-trib.
That's what I'm saying,
worldview.
that sales pitch is pretty harsh.
Now, this is exactly where Israel was back then. They were in the beginning of their persecution by the Romans and the Jews even. And John's message isn't a message of apocalypse, of destruction and chaos. John's message is a message of hope and perseverance, faithfulness.
Yeah,
in
and
the
on the
church.
side of God and to keep.
They didn't have the pre-trib view, okay? So they weren't set up to be disappointed.
Right.
They
give them
understood rightly that God is on the throne and he's going to bring them through this.
And whatever happens, he's going to justify it in the end. He's gonna still win, he's still gonna bring justice to it.
Oh, yeah,
He's
his,
still, so that should be our Christian view and not all these labels.
and that's what
And who
seeing
brought the
forest
labels?
through the
There you
trees
go.
meant at the end of that video. If we're focusing on 666, if we're focusing on the temple, we're missing the main focus of the book, which is Jesus. He's still on the throne. His will is being done on earth as it is in heaven, and it will finish exactly the way that he laid it out.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to fear for his people.
So this is all just semantics, right? All of this is semantics to know what it's referring to in the Bible,
It's audio
this-
form. That's a big word for that. Yeah, it's not salvation related.
audio.
So you can be a pre-tribber, and that doesn't. You're not out. Okay.
Yeah.
All four worldviews, if they love the Lord and they've surrendered to Him, they're in. That's audio form. It's not
That's all you need to
salvation. It's not salvation dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was reading all of the Torah and
Mhm.
word for word, taking notes,
Work for the airport.
I learned stuff that I
Wish
didn't
I
know
could get
before.
tickets.
And when he was speaking of that God tells you that you're supposed to be, thinking on him, praying with him, all of this is about him in your life,
Mhm.
to the point where his name is written on your right hand and on your forehead. Of course, the perversion of the beast or the Antichrist, same thing. Oh, you're gonna get the mark where? Your hand, your right hand, your forehead, right?
Mhm.
But I didn't know that ever existed. All I knew was the mark of the beast on the hand and the forehead,
Mhm.
right? So now I'm reading all of that. So when I read this again, I had all that back knowledge from all of that. Now I'm seeing the correlation. Now it makes sense to me when you're saying this is stuff that was back then in visions, and I've already correlated with each other. It's just the other stuff that hasn't taken place, or
Mm-hmm.
will it take place?
Yeah.
But how many churches talk about that? Like Tammy,
I
how
don't
long
know.
have you been in church?
A very long time.
And so no churches wanna speak on Revelation because of all these different worldviews, and people get up and leave if you say the
I
wrong
can't
one.
even
Exactly.
ever
That's-
think of
That's the
the,
fear right there, they'll
That's
get
the
up
fear.
and leave.
Mhm.
this 10 years I've been coming here, I don't think we've ever,
No, nobody teaches on
We
I
it.
don't think
had-
we've
we
ever
had
taught
one-
on
I think we had
Revelation.
one 2-part series and it was very surface.
Yeah, like,
Certainly
well,
didn't.
I can't, because,
And
like,
that's wrong, they
again,
should tell you, it's just
Exactly.
I mean, this definitely, like, in it, you know, like, so I was looking at another way too, because I was like, is this really that deep? Like, are we creating it to be deeper than what it really is?
Yes.
That's really what I really felt that in my spirit, was like, I feel like people hype up Revelation, so, like, so
It's
much.
exciting, it
Right.
sells books and
Yeah.
movies.
Like, and like, this is literally what this and literally that, but I'm like, wait, but if you really, is it, I don't, like, for whatever it is, it's like, I don't feel it should be as deep as people make it out to be.
It's fear mongering.
Yeah,
And fear
Yeah.
from the devil.
Yeah.
So there we go again, who's behind this?
because
It
at
would-
the
you know,
end,
in
If
this
you're
church,
afraid
right.
after reading this book, you
Yeah.
aren't hearing
I-
from the Holy Spirit.
right, because when you read the end, it's like you said, it's full of hope and
Yeah.
faith and love, and like, you know, like, all these amazing things.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, think, if you read, I mean, I've read bits and pieces of the Old Testament, I mean, that's like a horror story. I mean, like, it really is, it's very violent.
The Bible, it's
When
been
you
called
read it from
a
the
biology,
beginning,
right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I get that, I understand it, but really what the Bible is, it's a war chronicle.
Yeah,
That would be the closest, section in the library you would find it, War Chronicles is where you would find the Bible. It says
that
from the
makes
beginning
sense.
until the end.
But God himself
With
abhors violence
Mhm.
and death.
Yeah.
And murder.
Yeah.
And within Leviticus and Deuteronomy, he even sets up sanctuary cities for people with manslaughter. They accidentally killed somebody. They're allowed to stay there till that priest dies, then they can go back. So he himself addresses that within his own people, and he abhors it, and then it's also in Psalms.
He
So-
abhors it, he makes provision for it, right?
Mhm.
He never condones it,
Never.
and there will be justice for it. His justice will not be overridden by his
Yeah, you ain't
grace
gonna
and
leave us on
mercy.
paper.
So if what we don't understand is that he lives in us, but who lives in, who, you know, has Baal living in them. So all we see is a man and a man, but if you have Baal living in him and, you know, God in him, and they have to say, well, God promised that, well, you guys are gonna have to go take that land, that's sanctioned by him, but, you know, even though he'll say annihilate them, kill everybody, but if you continue to read on, he doesn't kill the whole population of the children.
There's no
So
genocide.
he's not
there.
that vicious, you know, war driven type, you
Yeah,
know.
he promised Noah.
He gave all of these nations years, decades, and hundreds of years to repent. So it's very difficult to point the
And that's
finger
why he
at
promised
an
Noah
unjust
he'd never
God
do that.
when he was more, you know, he's given more than enough grace and mercy for them to repent.
That's why a lot of Christians, when next Bible study, they need to read the whole Bible.
Yeah.
Because they just jump around in the New Testament
Mhm.
and they'll hear bits and pieces about the Old and they get the wrong concept of who God really is and his character.
Yeah.
And where did they get that from again?
You know, think about the
Seeds
question
pitted
of,
about, you know,
think of the question about why pain and suffering, why sin, why evil, right?
right.
One of the answers to that question is without them, we would only know about half of the attributes of God without those things. But because there's pain and suffering and evil, now we can understand grace and mercy and healing and all the other attributes of the Father. Because without that, we only get a partial picture of who God is. Wouldn't you want to know all about your spouse before you get married? I know I would. All right, that's pretty good for one question. What time is it?
That would be 7:40.
9 o'clock.
Question number 2. Any questions on tribulation or rapture, the timing thereof? Well, we're good? You
Yeah.
understand the concepts, tribulation, rapture?
I mean, I didn't read everything. There's so much.
Oh, no, yeah, good luck. I knew you wouldn't all be able to read it. the hardest part of this homework for me was to cut it down to what we do have.
Yeah.
So, question number 2, what does pre, post, and a millennial? So you already know what the a means, right? So what is this pre, post, and a millennial concepts there, Miss Cindy?
I think it's similar to the pre-trib, but I think
It
this
is?
is addressing the millennium.
Yep.
Which is 1,000-year reign of Jesus on earth.
Indeed.
So pre is that he would return before the millennium,
Mm-hmm.
and then post is that he
Very good.
would
Mhm.
reign after.
Right.
For and
Mhm.
history.
I thought millennium was 100 years.
1,000
1,000.
million.
Centuries 100.
But remember, 1,000 years is one day
We
to
just-
God.
Didn't we just celebrate the
1,000
millennium?
years he would end history.
2,000?
So,
1,000
again, where is this coming from?
Oh, you didn't get
It's in the book.
Revelation. Well,
Did you
also,
not get
also
this?
in the
Oh,
book.
I didn't even get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's all in the
Oh.
book.
You
He
didn't read
must,
it.
he must not have heard me when I said you will need this book.
He wasn't here. He wasn't
I
here.
couldn't even finish the
It's
chapter.
all in the
I
book.
know.
He wasn't here.
This first, because it gives you better.
Oh, he was there.
He wasn't here.
Mark,
And I was here.
he was,
Oh, he was?
it's
He
page
had the book,
seven,
he had the book in his hands.
Mo, it's page 72 through 73.
Yeah.
Number 2.
You are spot on this, Cindy. Pre-millennium means Jesus returns, and then there's the 1,000-year reign under him. There's a post-millennial. He returns after a 1,000-year reign, and this worldview is explained that the church kind of fixes itself. All right, we get it right for
Wait, this
1,000.
means when he
the church fixes-
returns?
Mhm.
Okay.
The church fixes itself in these 1,000 years, or it takes 1,000 years, some part or all of it, and then Christ comes back to get his spotless bride. Right? And then amillennial is there is no 1,000 years, just symbolic.
He probably needs 1,000 years for that spotless bride.
Christ is coming back
That's
for a bride.
So,
Given
Miss,
the hundreds of
Shots
years.
fired.
Yeah, the church.
Oh.
He said, he said, is Christ coming back for the bride? Say, yeah, the church.
I know, that's
He's coming
what I
back,
s-
he's coming back and, wait, say that one more time.
okay. No, that's why we're here. Premillennial,
Yeah.
okay, is Christ comes back, okay,
Right,
and you can tie this into trib and all that.
right,
But he comes back and then reigns for 1,000 years on the earth.
and reigns for
And
1,000,
then-
okay,
then-
okay, okay.
Then wraps it all up.
Right, I
okay,
got
to
it,
sum-
got
to
it.
summarize.
That's perfect,
Okay.
Oh,
Post is he comes after the church has got their act together
right,
to receive his spotless bride.
right.
So which view do you hold to, Miss
That-
Cindy?
No.
Post is, and then post is after the 1,000 years. So,
Wow.
Yes.
got it.
I just
Got
feel
it.
like I don't know enough to really, like I'm still
Let-
learning.
Fair enough.
Learning,
That
yeah.
I can't really like
Not
have
really
one
sure.
specific view.
Who has an opinion on that? Anyone?
I
It's not a very common topic. The church doesn't teach it on Sunday.
Hey, is
Ever.
Christ coming for 1,000 years?
That's,
sorry?
yeah,
Is he coming for 1,000 years?
that's what,
Depends on your view.
or I guess it
Well,
depends on your
supposedly
view.
the 1,000 years we're gonna reign and without the devil at all, you know, and then, and
Yeah,
so,
when he
Mhm.
returns.
Cast into the pit.
yeah.
I have that view.
And
I
so-
have the
Probably
dispensational pre.
Pre, maybe.
But then after the 1,000 years.
Okay.
I guess he's-
So why?
Probably pre.
Because the word is
Wait,
without void.
so
There's no, like,
if it's coming
Absolute.
for 1,000 years,
He's coming to reign for 1,000 years. Well, this 1,000 years, either Christ comes and reigns for it, or Christ comes after this 1,000 years to consummate his kingdom.
well, it's been already 2,000 years.
I'm sorry?
It's already been 2,000.
Yeah, but this just like the tribulation is a future event.
Yeah, because that hasn't, he hasn't come back. That's why.
Not the second time.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I have the
Yeah.
dispensational.
Yeah, this is clearly a preterist would not be discussing
but
this.
how
at
do
all.
we know that?
Right.
They would be a millennial.
It's been 2,000 years, maybe he did come back after
Stop.
1,000 years.
Stop that.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
who
no,
would've
I mean,
known?
like, think, if
Well,
you,
then that
if
means
you,
that he
like, listen,
missed
like,
it.
this is what I mean, if you really think about that, like,
Uh-huh.
it's been 2,000 years since, Jesus was here on earth.
Mhm.
1,000 years went by, How do we know that he didn't come back?
How do we know that
weren't
that
around.
1,000 years started though?
Yeah,
When he left, we don't know.
yeah. But let's just, if we're talking in that term though, like,
I get that.
we would not know. And I mean, you would hope that somebody,
Well, I
Wrote
think there's enough
something.
information on this period that we would know.
okay.
Yeah, there's
We
going
would know
to
as
be,
Christians
there's
that
going
he
to be
came
a
back for us
righteous-
because we're his bride.
there's
So
going to
we
be a
would
righteous,
know.
Not gonna be around.
there's going to be a righteous
Huh?
reign or rule on the earth
Mhm.
for 1,000 years. Have we had that?
No.
No.
Okay,
Well,
so I think we can agree
well,
that
I
hasn't
mean,
happened
I
yet.
don't think we have.
But if you do, then why
Righteous is
bother?
already
This is
happening.
as good as it gets.
Yeah,
Righteous is
no,
pure and
no,
holy.
I mean, because someone clearly would have written about it. You would think,
Right?
yeah.
Now, history tells a different story.
Yeah.
Unless the
in
council
history, yeah.
Nicaea didn't find it.
We would know about it because we're his bride. He's coming back and he's gonna reign pure justice.
So like when they talk about the like how it says, basically the second coming will be in 1,000 years.
No, it's not saying that. It's saying that when he comes,
Uh-huh.
there will either will be or will have been 1,000 years of peaceful reign on the earth.
Hmm.
That's as simple as I can
Oh,
boil
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Cole, you said you were, oh, go ahead, Cindy.
I just have a question, in Revelation 25, it says, the rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended.
Sure, yeah. So is that evidence for a pre-millennial reign or a post-millennial
I
reign?
would think post.
Post,
Right? Yeah.
I think, right, I feel like.
Yeah, that would be evidence for a post-millennial reign, and you can bet your dollar that that's where one of their key verses, text verses for having that post-millennial reign.
Yeah, that part.
But
Or there would have to be the peace and tranquility, not for 1,000 years before they raise again.
in that interpretation.
In that interpretation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So is that enough for you to decide one way or the other?
No.
Same here.
What do you said you had a decision, Ms. Cole? You had,
Dispensational?
yeah,
Yeah.
so pre-millennial?
Oh, is that right?
No,
Yeah.
you, are you,
See-
like, what are you?
See what you got there, yeah.
Easy.
Dispensational is the belief that
Yeah, yeah.
the church will not, oh, no, sorry.
She changed her mind.
No, I didn't read all of it.
Oh, yeah,
No, it's the belief that there will be a period of great peace and security when the gospel has spread throughout the world. No, I don't believe that either. Because even though the world has already received most of the word of God, we're still living in the whole, which one is the,
She learned nothing from your first cast out.
The
To be honest,
dispensational would go hand in hand with the pre-trib rapture.
okay, no, because we're past that.
What did you say?
We're already,
What, the last sentence?
The dispensational premillennialist would go hand in hand with the rapture, pre-trib rapture crowd.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
But you can't really have one without, well, you could, but now you really get twisted.
No.
Yeah.
We already
You,
got
like,
it.
what you just meant,
Mm-hmm.
if I could put it in my words, is
Okay.
that futurism is something the pre-trib people agree about. It's popular among,
Yes,
that's what you meant to say, right?
yeah, well, I don't think I said that, but I
I
agree
mean,
with
that's
what
what
you
they
just said.
mean.
Yeah.
That's what you meant.
Uh-huh.
Wait, is anyone online? Can they chime in?
No, there's nobody online.
Oh.
You went there.
She wanted somebody else to take her.
so, where do they get, where's the verse for the rapture? Where's that?
First Thessalonians.
Oh, it's not even in Revelation.
No.
My goodness. Okay, so where is the one for the mid-trib? Because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, to be honest.
There's not a verse, it's more of a sequencing. You see in
Oh, it's a
Revelation
whole-
that
never
at the
mind.
end of the 3.5
It's
years.
post-trib.
Right?
Because if you think about it, all that he was writing in the future, like, he keeps saying like a third of the world's gonna die. And then it's gonna be hard and you're gonna be persecuted, the Christians who don't take the mark.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't really address where they go, and then they discuss all the other stuff, and then it's like, okay, he returns. So there's no definite, definitive to say where does the remaining church go.
Mm-hmm.
They speak about the one
Yeah, that's the problem for the
144,000.
pre-trib group, is that if the church is raptured up, right, now we begin the 7 years of persecution, is nobody saved during that time? What's the point? What's the purpose then? Is this just all judgment? That's what the pre-trib has to hang their hat on. So that means nobody during that time can come to Christ, which the
They
text-
can if they choose not to take the mark, and then they behead the ones that
Yeah.
that's so
That's-
they're saying
That's who the
those are the
martyrs under
ones,
the altar are.
the martyrs, yeah,
Yeah.
that cry out and say,
So that's a big problem
about
for
us?
pre-trib.
you mean
There's
for post if the right?
no, for pre-trib.
Oh.
That's a big problem for that. If you watch the video, I think I included a link on there, 4 reasons why against pre-trib rapture. That went a long way to putting questions in my head that pre-trib couldn't answer.
Yeah, it can't answer that, but when the martyrs cry out, so therefore they have to be the ones. Oh, so they're trying to say the Christians aren't there anymore. These are the people that got left behind, right? That's where they got the book series from.
Depends on what group, but yeah, the martyrs under the altar can't be, well, if they are people who died during the tribulation, now what part of the church are they? Okay, do we have 2 churches now? One pre-trib church and one mid-trib church?
No, so many people die that I think those are just the leftover Christians from the beginning of all the.
So what happened to the argument that, God wouldn't allow his wrath upon his bride? If we had these people converting and then being martyred?
Because we're
See
not
what I mean by
we're not
it
the
brings up more-
144,000.
See what I mean by it brings up more
That's not a
questions
literal
than it
number.
answers when you go that route.
No, but he never addresses the church as that bride. He doesn't say like, the bride doesn't get hurt except for the 144,000. So the church itself is just kind of non-existent until it comes to the mark.
Well, that's what the pre-trib crowd believes. They believe that there is no mention of the church after chapter 3, I believe. Right? And so their contention is that since there's no mention of the church, they must not be here.
Yeah, but I'm
But
saying
that's
I
a
don't
false-
believe that. I'm
it's a false
saying,
premise.
yeah, I'm saying the church is probably still here, and the ones that become the martyrs
Mhm.
are the ones that are left over because there's going
They're
to be
going to be
famine, there's
witnesses.
going to be earthwooks, there's going to be fires. So how many people are?
Moses himself was the witness to Egypt and to Pharaoh throughout the plagues. The church, this is my worldview, the church will be the witness to the world of what we're going through. That's probably one of the main reasons why I'm a post-trib worldview, is we have a purpose still. It's the same purpose we have now.
Right.
But when wrath starts coming, people are gonna be paying attention.
Do you really
Big time.
believe that the people that didn't make it to heaven are all of a sudden going to become a martyr and be beheaded instead of eat?
People that didn't make it to
That's the pre-trib.
the people who weren't raptured?
Yeah, the ones that were left behind.
I don't know.
That's what, but I'm saying to
yeah.
you, just like literally, like,
There's a huge danger that they will walk away from the faith.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then therefore that would mean that would be the church that probably still were alive. Like they have
Yeah.
underground churches in
All the
China.
pre-tribbers are
they
still
have-
here, yeah.
Yeah, they have all those other Christians that are dying in other parts of the world.
Sure.
So.
Okay, so, anybody have a worldview on millennium, the 1,000-year reign of Christ? Or the 1,000 years of peace on earth? No?
That'd be nice.
Well, I'll give you mine. For what it's worth. I find it, and I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, because I know men of God who are far smarter than I am and versed in the word, who believe that it's the church's mission to clean this place up so that we can present ourselves to Christ. Could be true, and I'm not gonna be dogmatic about it. But here's what I have a problem with, is that I don't see the world going in that trajectory right now.
Right.
And
And I don't know, something dramatic, significant would have to take place for us to turn ourselves around, and I just don't think we have it in our fallen nature to do so.
Look at the amount of conflict.
So,
but out of the 7 churches, there's that one church that does, that's the only one that's okay.
Mhm.
The rest of them are condemned,
Yeah,
okay, so I mean, how many people, how many churches or pastors are stepping up to the?
Oh, I'm sure there are many now. I mean, that's where I got a lot of my information from is, but once again, this isn't a salvation issue.
No, it's not, no.
Yeah, just like the 7 churches, the ones that got warnings were blessed that they knew that Christ identified their problems so they could fix it. That wasn't condemnation to them. That was get your act together.
Right.
Because you're not in the right place. And so I believe that the church, the post-trib church, will have that same message for the pre-trib church in the last days. Get your act together. Okay, where clearly these events are happening,
Right.
and you're still here
Right.
with us.
Right.
This is what the word says to
It's
do.
not 1,000
Yeah, 'cause
years.
we're gonna go through
It's
that.
just when he-
So
So
we'll be
you-
ready for it, and we're much less likely to lose our faith.
So Mike,
Yeah.
so you're a millennial.
No, I'm not a millennial. A millennial is there's no 1,000 years, or it's symbolic at best.
Well,
I am
the
post-
a millennial.
I am post-mill. Pre-mill, I'm sorry. I believe Christ is going to come first, straighten out the church, reign for 1,000 years, throw the enemy into the pit, okay? And then at the end of that 1,000 years, when he wraps this show up, for lack of a better description, then those dead in Christ will be risen from the grave.
But the Reformed churches believe in amillennialism.
Many do. They believe it's symbolic at best, or there is no millennium. It's just spirit. It's a spiritual reign.
There is a millennium, we just don't
So-
understand.
Oh, they're the same.
Pre-millennium
He's like not gonna physically. That's they believe
As
he's
in,
not
like
gonna
what
physically
most
come back.
evangelists believe.
To reign for 1,000 years.
That he's physically not going to?
He's not going to come back to the earth to reign for 1,000 years in his glorified body to take charge.
The
Oh,
A's.
The amillennials.
Oh, okay.
So, but then if you're,
So
like I was just saying, like priest says right here, teaches that Christ will return before the millennium.
Premillennial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pre-millennium, so like, but that's already passed.
No, you're getting hung up on the timeline from when Christ died.
Yeah.
The millennial reign doesn't happen until later.
Yeah.
That period
After all the
hasn't
tribulation.
begun yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after
All that.
We'll get to that, of course.
Then he
So,
reigns.
so the
Post-
after, so that would be
post-trib.
post-trib.
Christ returns, reigns for 1,000 years.
Okay.
That's
okay.
where I'm at.
Okay,
Help?
got it,
That
got
does
it,
sound
got
about
it,
right.
got it, thank you.
Now, don't take my
Sound.
worldview for your own.
Right, no,
That's what this book
that makes
is
sense,
for.
no, that makes sense, it makes sense.
Here's what
I need some of this to make sense.
Yeah.
Like, no, Mike, it's good, it's good, I need some of this to make sense.
Looking for
You'll see
answers,
something
Mike, not
you'll see-
options.
You'll see something interesting in my book, right? I highlighted the descriptions that I agreed with.
Right,
And they're not all from the same category.
right, and that's.
And neither should yours be.
Yeah,
Futurist.
exactly,
Historicist, idealist.
And that's why I love this book.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take a side or
Right.
try to convince you. one
Right,
or the
right.
other. It gives
Then
you
I have
everything you need
to
to do to
put
do
some
it yourself.
things in order.
Yeah.
That's
Very
just the
simply,
way my brain works.
Christ
They have
returns.
charts, like,
Yeah,
with all the
Post-trib,
options.
Christ returns, the church is here, we've been witnessing, we're being martyred. Christ returns, puts an end to it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, no flesh would be saved,
correct.
right? And then he reigns for 1,000 years, and then he consummates everything. So a secondary question is, what's the purpose of this 1,000 years? I mean, why don't just wrap it up now and start the eternity, right? Why do we need this 1,000 years?
Because God stated a long time ago. I remember something. God does not want nobody to be left behind. He wants everybody to have to let them have their life in Him. But He's giving everybody the opportunity, the choice to either believe us.
He could do that without a millennium.
He can't, but
There's still
He's
choices
had
at that
2,000
time,
years
though.
already.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of this, of him coming to reign for 1,000 years? I'm just gonna presuppose that we're
to
pre-millennial.
show the non-believers that everything that we said is 100% accurate.
Because there's still free will
Yeah.
that God gives us, so He's not gonna enslave whoever's left over
Right.
that don't believe in
And
Him
the temptation.
to force it, because then now He is the
Okay.
beast.
I think you're on the right track, but there's
something
can go
like-
further, yeah. you
I
can
don't
go
think he's
further.
going to enslave anybody. He's just going to
No,
give
we're-
everybody the opportunity
You
to
don't have be
believe in
around
him.
to be-
That's what I'm
you
saying,
can
that's
do
exactly
this.
what I'm just saying.
What-
You're gonna, you're gonna be without the devil being.
What's
in
our,
you.
what do we typically do when we're confronted with evil or tribulation or trials or pain and suffering? What do we typically do?
Me, I start crying.
Complain.
After the crying stuff, what do we do?
Confess and
Yeah,
repent.
well, it's like if somebody just attacked you, I mean, you know, what do we, or your
Defend
taxes
ourselves?
got raised so high, you can't live there anymore, your rent, whatever, right? What do we typically do? What's our first response?
Get something
Yeah,
off our
we
chest.
can.
What is Satan, what did Adam and Eve do?
Oh,
What was their first
They ran?
response? Well, yeah, they tried to hide. Okay.
they accused each other.
Yeah,
Blame, blame.
They didn't take the blame. They didn't take the blame for themselves.
and worse, Adam said, if you remember, the woman
You gave me. He blamed God.
Right?
Yeah.
right?
Okay, I got it.
You
I
gave me,
know.
pointed the finger right at God.
Women
And
can
if
That's
there
what
was a
we
fruit
do
from the
today.
tree of knowledge,
And,
you would have also known who gotten Eve to like it.
And we do that in a number of ways today. You know, we blame the father. Why is there starving children? Why is there disease? And,
Yeah.
right? We're doing the same thing. We're blaming the father for
Everybody
these
does.
things. So here's what the millennial reign does. We have a perfect ruler, a perfect judge over all of us. Takes away that excuse for good.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can't say, oh, it's because of our politicians or because of our party or because of
Yeah.
our church,
Mhm.
right?
So he's
There's
gonna
no
give them
more
a fair
excuses.
No more
chance.
pointing fingers.
A
You
fair
have a
chance
perfect ruler and you will still choose to go against me.
that you can go to hell, just kidding.
Well,
I mean, but yeah.
we're, at that point,
That's
at
what's gonna happen.
that
That's,
point, we're kicking and screaming. We're like, we don't want you.
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't
The
want
problem is that playing people
We're
feel
not-
like it's
we're
too
like,
good to be true.
Okay, you don't want me?
Right.
I'll let you go then.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be with me though.
right? Have fun.
Any questions on millennial?
No.
Are we at least a little clearer?
Yeah.
All right. That's, I think, the best we could probably do, right? Question 3, what does historicist, idealist, futurist mean? And that's gonna come right from your book, hopefully. You
Yeah.
stumbled
The
into
same
that.
page that you highlighted those three
Yep.
sections.
What do you think, Mr. Joshua? I'm gonna bounce around, 'cause I have a plan.
I was hoping for the next question.
I know, right? I gotta keep you on your toes.
Anyway. Let's see.
It's on 54.
Historicist sounds
54.
more like pre.
What's a historicist view of Revelation?
It's on page 54.
Yeah, Josh.
55.
54.
It tells you right there.
54. it tells
There
you
we
right
go. Now, historicist, book of Revelation is prophecy about church history from the time of John to the end of the world. Idealist, Revelation is a non-historical and non-prophetic drama about spiritual realities. Futurist, Revelation is prophecy that is mostly about the end of the world. I think it's much more than the end of the world. So,
So which one
Okay,
do
read
you
creed.
hang
You
your
didn't
hat
do
on?
creed.
well, historicist kind of sounds like the priesty side of things. Futurist kind of sounds like post.
Mhm.
Idealist
You are
kind of
correct.
sounds like the. Idealist
Spiritual,
doesn't sound like,
symbolic,
yeah.
okay.
So wait, I don't remember seeing previous on the question.
Where do you hang your hat? Which one of these 4 views are you on? This is almost borderline trick question.
Well, that's the thing. I'm basically like split between historicist and idealist.
Okay. All right.
Wow,
Interesting.
he's smart.
He is smart. Anybody have something else?
I think it's not applicable.
So you would be an idealist or a futurist?
Did you read page 54?
I did. It's like neither. I'm not applicable.
So which one of those 4, if that's all you had to choose from?
None of them.
None of the above?
Right, because a futurism is a view of the dispensational churches, and idealism is a view of the non-dispensational churches.
One is the future, just like it says, hadn't happened yet. One is symbolic
Did you get
or spiritual, not actual, right? Not literal. One is in the past, and then preterist is like everything is done already. Where this is as good as it gets.
So it's like the A's. So it's like the A language?
No, there's no A view. in this particular one.
Just to
You
clear
got
that up.
You can do that,
Mo
Just to clear
is
that
an A. I don't even know what the right word is.
Yeah, cause they say the history view is like, oh no, the idealist is not historical, not prophetic, it's
Right.
drama, and it's like
Yeah.
parables.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe more into the futuristic, the
Okay.
prophecy about the end of the world.
Remember when I showed you that I had different highlights from different
Yes.
worldviews?
Yeah.
The same applies here.
Oh.
You can have
Because there's another
you
one
can have a
here.
mix here,
Yeah,
and that's where I'm at. I'm a mix of historist and futurist.
yeah,
Because I'm pretty certain that everything has not happened yet.
Right.
That's written.
I agree.
But many things that are written about have happened. Hopefully we'll have time to get to it. We may end up going the second week, I don't know.
Do you feel that this is a timeline?
805.
That's a historicist.
Yeah, historicist,
This church history from John to the end
yeah,
of
if I had to pick one, that would be it.
the church.
But I think if you read
Yeah, that would be it with a splash of prophecy.
If you read the definition for historicist, though, it says they view the events as symbolic descriptions of historical events throughout church history. All right. Some futurists also understand the seven churches in a historic manner, treating each church as a descriptive of a particular era in church history. The way I see it is historicist in a fact or in the way that a lot of prophecy and revelation occurred in 70 AD. And that's probably it for another class. We may go to a follow-up class on this. It cuts my 2-week break short by a week, but
That's in the handout too.
because
Or you guys
I
can
think
quit-
we're gonna have some more questions by the time we wrap up.
Or you guys can,
But,
What do you think?
Not sure yet.
That's entirely fine. That's
Yeah.
entirely
He's
fine.
on the fence.
it's the future.
But a lot,
No.
He doesn't mean to be.
a lot of things, a lot of prophecy that's written in Revelation, because you recall not only Jesus' words in Matthew, but John repeats them that these things are at the end is near, I'm at the door. This generation will not pass. That's a big one for me right there. We see that 3 or 4 times in different books, and it said, I tell you that Jesus said this, I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass away until all of these things have happened. All of these things have happened. If you look at
Is that the
in
literal?
Olivet Discourse, when they asked him,
Yeah.
when will these things happen? Because he just said this temple is gonna be destroyed, not one stone on the other, right? And they were like, snap, right? I mean, that was the most important thing in the world
Right.
to them. And when is this gonna happen? They actually asked 2 questions, but he said, tell them that there's gonna be wars and rumors of wars and all that. But the key takeaway there is that this generation, and he said, truly I tell you, it's like, listen up. This generation is not gonna pass before all these things take place.
What about the translation for the word generation? Was it literal generation? Because then they had,
Uh-huh.
he spoke Aramaic, but they wrote it in
Yeah.
Greek.
Uh-huh.
But then, like where there could be.
What do you think they thought he meant? They answer that question themselves. They understood it to mean that generation, including Paul. They fully expected all of these things to happen in their lifetime.
Do you know
And it didn't happen in their lifetimes, not even John's, but shortly after.
I wanna know why
Hmm.
we don't go.
what happened shortly after?
After John's death? Well, there's 2 trains of thought on that too. Some people believe John wrote in 70-something
Right,
AD,
that's what's, or 90.
or 90.
80.
95, 96.
So there's 2 camps. There's an early view before the temple was destroyed group and after the temple was destroyed. I don't hang my hat on either one of them because it is possible that the temple was destroyed, but John decided not to write about it because it wasn't what Jesus told him, was telling him.
It's not what his vision saw.
The temple had to be destroyed, you know why? Because they went and made sacrifices at the temple,
Mhm.
but Christ came and he was the sacrifice, but even though they didn't believe he was the Messiah, he said, I don't care, you're not gonna, and they have not been
No more
able.
sacrifices.
That's why they're dying right now to make this 3rd temple, and they're trying to sacrifice
Who do
those
you
red
think's
heifers.
behind the building of a 3rd temple? Jesus?
No, the Antichrist. He wants it because he
That's a
sits
slap
on
in
the
the
throne.
face.
Yeah,
That's a slap in
that's
the
where he
face.
sits on the throne.
He didn't do enough.
It's like
Have to do this.
Thessalonians 2.
So, yeah. Historicist, a lot has been done, a lot of already fulfilled in that generation, just like Jesus said. But when you start reading towards the bowls, the seals, and the trumpets,
Yeah.
where, we have 2/3 of the world, and even more if you do the math, being destroyed. And so we've seen these types of events go through, and first century Israel understood that this is going to be like it was for Egypt when this time comes. It's going to be like that for us. Right? And so they were under no disillusion. But they also knew that just like in Egypt, the Father was going to get them through it.
And just to make a point,
Mm.
Christians don't have a supernatural protection. They're gonna die just the same like other people because that's just what it was meant to be. But we're not supposed to lose our focus of still spreading the word of God, whether you get caught up in that fire or that.
I would argue that Christians will perish at a much greater percentage,
I think so too.
at least in the initial stages, at least through the period of tribulation.
But not here in America, because we're
Oh, yeah, no.
because we're not like
immune
other
from
Christians in other
We're
places.
immune from God's wrath, right?
That's coming soon,
Because we voted for Trump. He's
I
a Trump
didn't
guy, we know that.
I voted for the right person for the job.
let's talk about that whore.
Who, Kamala Harris?
No, the one on
Hey.
Babylon, the one riding Babylon.
Oh.
Oh,
I've heard
the pregnant lady.
No.
No.
It was- no.
I know who you're talking about.
Mary.
Alright, let's do this. We're gonna tackle some of the easier questions.
They're easy questions in this
But I don't
study.
think, I don't think we're
I
going
think none of
to.
this is
I wanna know.
Who told you they're easy?
I know.
But it's
Seven.
right here.
Because this is the book of Revelation contains 7 letters from Jesus to churches in 7 important cities in the Roman province of Asia Minor.
Mhm.
Like what? Like why these churches? Why?
That's a great question. An answer would be that each of these churches demonstrated the failings common to all churches.
Okay.
If you look through the issues that they were having,
Mhm.
they're kind of, they differ from each other, but as a group, it kind of covers all of the issues that churches have.
Okay.
That's an answer. I don't know that it's the answer
Okay.
or the only answer.
It describes every church. There were some of them that were doing good, and he
Yeah,
told
there
them
was
that
one.
and he did tell them their weaknesses, but what they needed to do.
Mhm.
That was a good part in that book.
Okay.
I saw another post about somebody saying that Satan's throne is somewhere else, but Turkey is a vital point right now
Sure.
with what's going on.
And
They're
a
not
lot of
making a
people are
move yet,
overlooking Turkey and,
but they're stronger than, I believe, Russia. Russia and them, no one knows who would win. So they're also part where they're protecting that one other pass through there. So they're not joining in yet
Yeah.
so they're quiet, but,
Turkey's keeping its powder dry, is the phrase.
and I just think that it's just the correlation with these 7 churches that he's speaking of. I mean, is it,
But that's
is it,
Well, I mean, that
is there a
was-
connection there, or is that
No,
just all
I don't think
speculation?
there's a geopolitical connection necessarily. I
Right.
think it was just that the churches, that was the circuit, that the mail, for lack of a better word, went through, and the Christian couriers, and they had a route. And it typically followed the missionary journeys of the apostles. And so most of these churches were visited by one or more of the apostles, even planted by the apostles, the disciples.
I was just wondering if
Yeah.
that had anything, just
It
like,
might. I mean, there's
like
so
what
many
we're going
layers
through today.
to this book that you can't rule it out.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering.
You good so far?
Yeah. Like I'm just.
I think I'm blessed more than I know, because most of you haven't been indoctrinated into a pre-trib worldview, because people who are, it becomes a spirited discussion. It's just,
I was born into a pre-trib, that's what they preached, but
Ah.
there's also other parts where they were different. Then you have the Baptists
oh yeah,
that
yeah,
have
there are
another,
subgroups.
but we
in each
studied all
category.
of them, but as we move on, again,
I just
How
don't
many
know
years
enough
ago
to
we-
be which view.
That's a blessing, as I was saying earlier, because you don't have to break away from a false teaching.
yes, that's what he said on the
Or a
video.
misleading one.
That it's
Oh, it
not
says
about the view, it's
oh.
about what we're supposed to be doing.
Says right here, Revelation was written to churches facing persecution and the danger of false teaching.
Right, and a lot of people are gonna be deceived.
Yeah.
A lot.
Now, we're blessed in the West, we're not really under persecution yet.
Right.
Give it time.
Well,
We're gonna be there soon because our dollar's collapsing, so.
And, you know, we've already seen, you know,
I'm just saying, when your economics right, then people will start to take over. Cause now you're not as strong.
That
When you
makes
had the
sense.
dollar and you were stronger,
Mhm.
right, you're able to get all this other supplies, but you know.
if the Father can
You know,
take down
That makes sense.
Babylon, Greece,
You know
and
how they talk
Persia, and
about,
Rome, you
I'm
know,
ready for
in a
question
single
7.
generation,
we're on 4.
Speak for
Don't
yourself.
don't think.
I'm ready for 7.
Do you know, oh yeah, I
Do
was
we
just
wanna
I
go
was
to
gonna
question
say-
4, which is a little more lengthy, or
It's one word,
do we want to,
it's one
maybe-
word, who's the writer?
okay,
Who's the
well, that's
writer
part,
of the white
part of,
horse?
that's part of the question, yeah. That one's easy.
That's
The other
what
part of
you
the
missed
question
out.
is, have the 4 horsemen come yet? And who is the rider of the white horse?
Who's answering that question?
That's the answer.
Who has, Cindy, do you have that? You have the answer? Cindy, do you have that? Do you know if you have it?
She already answered.
We're ready,
Yeah.
we're
The white
ready
horse,
for that.
the Antichrist comes in a white horse, but so does God, but Jesus
But-
does.
but-
But Jesus doesn't
Yeah.
have a bow, and the Antichrist does.
But
Good
this
point.
horseman is the Antichrist, right?
Yes,
Because Jesus comes
Yeah.
later.
in
Conquest.
chapter 6.
She is such a copycat, everything.
Yeah.
I think he does that to trick
Yeah.
ignorant Christians.
Wait, so the
Because if you're not
answer
reading your
is
word,
the
you're like, oh, there's
Antichrist?
Jesus.
The rider of the
Yeah,
white
that's what I'm
horse,
saying.
yes.
There's-
Conquest.
there's just so many people that
Rider of the
deceive-
white horse is the
there's just people that
Antichrist.
watch the news.
Then
They
who's the
they
red
think
one?
that it's like-
True.
They are so
Hmm?
dumb.
You wanna deal with
so-
what they are?
Yes,
Wait,
the red one is
Well,
war,
like I said, to do that,
Oh,
the black one is
if you
famine,
haven't read your handouts,
and the pale one
you're
is
gonna miss
death.
out on a lot. So do you wanna save that for next
I-
week?
It's in these.
yeah, but it just, it doesn't, it's not very descriptive, it just says,
It says what horse is what.
There's quite a bit there.
Yeah, it does, it does.
Oh.
Remember the word correlation, right? What did other writers,
but-
did other writers deal with this topic? Absolutely.
so, okay, what I don't see in
Yeah, you might
here
be
is that
wondering,
I've heard
wait.
other versions of the colors of the riders on the horses represent certain
Sure.
countries of the world today.
That's one interpretation.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Why does it
that I
have
my
to
hat
be
on
so
that.
difficult?
I'm
Right.
just,
Cryptic.
That's when you.
Wait,
That's
wait,
why
wait,
when I
wait,
see-
wait.
To God before.
What
you
would
didn't take
the
God
first
before
century
you help with it.
reader
Understand
or
it.
hearer think these horses are, right? That's the question, really. If you wanna know, what did they believe?
Probably leaders of nations.
Where would their knowledge of these horses come from?
Oh, let's see.
Not from the news, that's for sure, not from the nations.
Who used horses back in those days?
they're Arabian, there's Arabian horses that are like top
Their knowledge
thoroughbreds.
of these 4 horses came from Zechariah,
Two
Zechariah,
No, but
Ezekiel.
Arabian horses
Ezekiel.
come from
Oh.
Arabia.
Egypt,
So-
right, Egypt.
Their understanding of the 4 horsemen came from the Old Testament. It didn't come from the news or the internet or the neighbors.
Where did, where did it come from?
Or on
Bush?
Scary Halloween
Zechariah.
movie.
Oh,
Ezekiel.
So
okay,
they would have immediately understood what John was trying to say
Oh, yeah,
about
that's
these
right.
horses.
that was part of the Old Testament, okay.
Yep.
Okay,
So
a review.
once you get a
I
couple of
wasn't here
things,
for
like
Ezekiel.
this is Old Testament, understood through the Old Testament by then, then it makes it a lot easier to figure out what's going on here, where am I?
So since you know, what
You
was
know
the
where it is.
symbolism for those horses in the visions of Ezekiel and the other one?
You,
Well, they only popped out when
they had
certain
different
seals
purposes
were
Okay,
opened.
so that's
at
what
the
I wanna
time,
know.
yeah, I wouldn't get hung up on the color so much, other than that,
Thing that stands for-
you know, the pale horse representing death was kind of a
Right.
death colored, you know,
I've heard that.
Pale.
a greenish, you know,
Yeah.
sickly,
Until pop
gray,
culture
grayish
returned.
green color.
Until pop culture would turn that color into
Yeah.
like
I
something
don't know
along
that
the
I
lines
would
of
put anything
pestilence.
more than that into it. You know, to assign it to a nation because their flag is this color is, I
Mm-hmm.
think, a far stretch.
Yeah, not to mention pop culture kind of like thought like conquest and war sounded so
Well-
similar. Hence why we hear pestilence in modern day like
Mhm.
worldly like culture.
Yeah.
Some people are to the wars that are happening, that's, and how that country is having war. with Israel, so that's why they're trying to correlate those horses with those colors with those countries.
Sure, yeah, they're
I
trying
mean,
to,
I don't, that's what I've heard.
they're trying
that's
to
what
build a
I've heard.
puzzle,
Yeah.
you know, with pieces that don't really fit together
Yeah.
too well.
Yeah.
So they're just putting them close to each other and saying, oh, this is what it is. It has to fit perfectly.
Or
Right?
it has
As
to
any,
mean
as any
something.
puzzle. And none of them really fit perfectly if you try to shoehorn a literal event into the future that happened in the past. It's just, you can't do it.
Okay, next question?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good explanation, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a good explanation.
Do we wanna do, how much time have we got left?
It's 8:20.
8:20.
20. Well, we've got we did
Where did
4
you find number
questions.
4? What was that?
I don't know.
Revelation
I
6.
think
if
we
you look
should
at
probably hit
Bible
the
verse.
remaining 6 next week. What do you think?
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all for
I
it.
told you we needed days.
My brain is like,
Okay. Well,
Big time.
I
huh?
did
It's on
say
overload.
last
They
week
didn't
that
let you, Mike, that's why they were
it
like.
was possible that we would go to.
There's just a
I'm
lot.
I'm a man of my word. It really depends on the discussion, you know, how many questions and all that.
You
But
know,
make no
it's a
mistake,
good
we're
discussion.
gonna wrap it up next week.
It's good.
well, you know, and
We're
again,
wrapping
it's
it up.
it's the church's fault because you know, you back in the day when I was in churches, whatever denomination that they teach what their denomination believes. Now we moved from that to non-denominational. So you have more non-denominational churches. They don't refer to certain things, especially Revelation, because now it gets separated between denominations and everybody's outtake and people get offended.
Yeah.
So, you know, but there's a lot of ignorance there too. And then you get, of course,
Yeah,
from
there are real
people.
consequences. They're not salvation eternal consequences, but make no mistake, there are real world consequences to misinterpreting the scripture.
Right.
Yeah. If you misinterpreted a highway sign, you're lost. You know? How much more, you know, something from the text. Amen?
Amen.
All right. Well, I was gonna hand out the intro for Genesis, but that'll wait a week. So I won't have to do that this week. At least I'll have the 1 week off. There you go.
Sorry.
Any other bearing, grinding questions about what we've gone over, or even something that we haven't gone over? Maybe there's something.
I have something.
I have a whole bunch of
A
stuff
whole
I wanna
bunch?
talk about first on question 7.
You said it was a
Oh,
lot for
Which one is 7? True or
About the
false?
mark of the beast.
Oh, that's not the true or false
yeah.
question?
Nah.
That's
No.
an easy one.
That's an easy one. I
You
have
wanna hit
it.
that one?
Yeah.
It does exist.
That's
Okay,
good.
what do you think it is?
So, you know how they talk about the mark of the beast, like, and they talk about the right hand and the forehead?
Yeah.
So I think these are the mark of the beast.
Okay.
You hold it with your right hand and you're using your head, and if you're like, it's
Yeah.
it's mind controlling you in your head if you're like not, if
Uh-huh.
you don't have control
Let
over
me
yourself.
ask you this question.
That's
Is
a
that how,
good, that's good.
is that how the 7 churches would have interpreted that?
If
Back
they
in the
had
day.
phones, probably,
But they didn't.
That's it.
but they didn't.
So
it was-
John put this in there, it was just irrelevant to them?
No, I don't think it was irrelevant back then though, like, it was basically, you know,
I think she's like symbolism.
it's like a symbol, yeah, I really believe that,
Okay, let me take
because it's not
Huh?
literal, I think it is symbolism, like, if you look at it today's
Okay, so
world.
then it's not a literal phone.
Well, if you look at it in today's,
No.
cause this
Right.
is
In
future,
Sweden,
it's not.
Tammy, in Sweden, there's a whole bunch, in Sweden, people pay a lot of money to put a like chip inside them with their
Oh,
information.
no, I can't.
Okay, so I will,
No.
can I answer
That's an
it?
example
Sure.
of today's.
So
Uh-huh.
50,000 people already volunteered in Los Angeles County to get the microchips in their
They're
hand.
not doing
And they already have it already. And they have
I
everything
don't know why they
connected.
do that, cause
you
everyone's
think
getting
that's
tracked
what it
by
is?
these anyway.
So what I have, according
really like
to
sci-fi.
Well, that's
your
the thing.
stuff,
Uh-huh.
the mark is, it's an engrave in the Old Testament. They're saying it's an engrave. So it's whether it's going to be
Under the skin.
under the skin, a holograph, or a chip, it's gonna be,
Where did you get engraved, and what are the other uses of that word?
it's right here in your,
Hopefully it's from the text.
it's in here.
The mark,
So the mark of
let
the
me look it
beast,
up in the,
so it says
in the
mark,
Greek.
I don't think it was a
Sharagma from Karaso, I engrave. was a term for images or names of the emperor on Roman coins. So it's saying that the mark is a symbol in the same way. So what it is that they're gonna get a mark from the beast if you want to sell or buy, and it's gonna be in a non, it's gonna be digital currency.
It's very
So
interesting
you have to,
that your source goes back to a Roman emperor, is that correct?
It's
Nero.
your source.
your source.
Okay.
It's your source.
My source,
You mean Nero?
it's going to support my case regardless.
Okay, so the source here
Uh-huh,
says that, right?
okay,
So basically, people that are gonna take the mark, they're gonna take the mark under severe life and death pressure. So if they're not serving the Lord, or he's not their true God, they're gonna take it because they're gonna wanna survive, right? If can you serve yourself and serve God at the same time?
no,
No, you cannot. So if you're not serving God 100%,
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna come a time where you're gonna say, I need to eat, I need to feed my children.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna take the mark for that, right? No matter what it is, you take the mark, Christ doesn't care, you're done.
Question, is this mark something that happened in the past, present, or future?
Future. And I will tell you why. Because the currency will be a digital currency.
How did, where is this coming
Digital
from?
ID.
Wait, but right here in the
I mean, they're
text,
gonna control,
right
they're
here
gonna
in your
control us
text,
to where they, you know,
you
you
said,
buy
it
bread,
says right
you can't do
here,
this unless you do
Mark,
this.
Mark was the term for images or names of the emperor on the Roman coins.
Right?
In the ancient world, such marks, tattoos, or brands were commonly given to slaves, soldiers, and devotees of religious cults, relating to Galatians 6:17. God sealed with the mark on the forehead the 144,000 to preserve them from his wrath against the unbelieving world. 7:2-3. The false prophet marks the unsaved to preserve them from Antichrist's wrath against God's people. The mark will signify that the person bearing it is a worshiper and loyal follower of the Antichrist. In much the same way, the Roman empires required their subjects to prove their loyalty by offering sacrifices to Caesar. Those who refused to take the Antichrist marks were subject to execution.
Okay,
So, but you want me to read from the word?
sure,
Okay. So,
it's often done here.
but this is somebody's take on it, right? But we all know it's gonna
Absolutely.
happen through digital currency.
Absolutely.
We all know that the currency's gonna go, if you're gonna have a black market, they're saying gold or silver, right? And that's what we're selling today. I forget what they call those little gold cards, but that's what people are buying.
Bitcoin.
And
They
it's a card, it's like $10,
Yeah,
$50.
they're
gold
flimsy,
in
but
prints.
there's actual gold in. I actually have
We got a
one.
few minutes. I
People
don't know
are
if you-
using
this
those
isn't as
around
easy
the
as
world
I thought it
right
was,
now.
yeah.
And there's gold in these
So-
cards now.
Alright,
Oh,
so
wow.
the beast itself, something happens to the beast, he basically, gets shot, dies, comes back, right? So he does all these miracles, so people think, oh, he's a god. So now he's gonna have them serve him, so people are like, oh, wait, what's going on? I guess he must be Jesus coming back, and, they're all
Oh, yeah,
confused
he
because
claims it.
they don't know it.